committowealth.com. Creating a legacy by committing to real estate wealth.
Commit to Wealth Nation, welcome to the Commit to Wealth podcast. I'm your host, Juan Vargas. On today's show, we have Grant Cardone. How about that? Grant is the best-selling author of several highly rated books, including The 10X Rule and Be Obsessed or Be Average. He's the expert and go-to guy for sales. And through his company, Cardone Capital, he's acquired over 6,000 units worth over $1 billion in asset value. Grant, welcome to the show.
When you say it, Juan, it just rolls right off your tongue, dude.
It sounds good, huh?
Sounds real good.
Yeah, man. Hey, it's an honor to have you on, man. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. Let's not waste any time.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, Juan, I just want to tell you, I love the title. I was telling you this on the break, right, before we start. Commit to wealth, you know?
Yeah.
I think that people, they're going to see your podcast, they're going to be like, oh, Commit to Wealth podcast, that's cool. But you really need to, people should really look at the words. Commit to wealth.
For sure. Yeah, because it's not something that just happens, man. You really have to commit to get to that point. You know,
you can make money. You can find money by accident. You can make a little money by accident. You could probably even get rich by accident. You cannot create wealth by accident.
No.
You know, I mean, for the listener, wealth would be much more than money or income. Okay, wealth would be something, you know, and it's not just about money. It's about freedom. Like what you know, you got to really define what is wealth. You know, most everybody's got a job today. Most everybody makes money today. Everybody knows how to spend money. Dude, how do we create wealth? And what does it even mean? You know, I know guys that are paid millions of dollars a year, and they're millions of dollars a year, and they hate their job. Well, that's not wealth.
Yeah. The definition for wealth for me is everything in one package, man. You're having family time, you know, your religious views. You know, just the freedom to do everything. And obviously, you know, part of that is money. You know, you got to have money to be able to have that time and that freedom to spend it with however you want to with your family. But, you know, that's the real definition of wealth, you know, where you don't have to get up and go to work and, you know, the money's flowing in and you spend your time as you want. But
yeah. The definition says an abundance of valuable possessions or money.
That's the true definition right there. There you go.
Yeah.
So Grant, man, let's get into this, man. You know, I know that you're in Houston. You know, as far as your properties, you bought here recently in Houston, and just before we got on the call here, you were looking at a deal in Houston as well. That's you know, in a good area of town. So you know, tell us why Houston. You know, why that market, and you know, let's get into that.
Well, it's one of the markets we've closed deals in the last 4 months: Houston, Austin, Miami, and Orlando. We closed about $400 million worth of deals the last quarter of last year. We're starting this year off really strong, almost $300 million under contract right now.
Wow.
And just closed the deal in Sugar Land. Love Sugar Land, Texas. You know, Fort Bend, just outside of Houston, southwest side of Houston.
Very, very good area. Very good part of town for sure.
Great job growth, great neighborhoods. We bought a deal for, I think that deal was $70 million, 200,000 a unit, 350 units. Sugar Land, brand new product, surrounded by $800 million homes. Then we bought a deal, Woodway Square, next to the Galleria, Whole Foods, now Amazon. Whole Foods is like literally 60 yards away. We have tenants that pay $1,200 a month, which I think is very affordable. It's
definitely.
5 acre lot. No, is that 5 acres? No, that's that property's got a 2 acre park. I think it's 30 acres, 507 units, and people can walk literally 60 yards. I got it. 60 yards and pick up their food over at Whole Foods and walk back. So the location's crazy. Just did a deal in Austin, Texas, 88 acres. That deal was $100 million. Overlooks Austin, phenomenal property. Could never buy it again. So that's what we look for, man. We look for great locations, job growth stories. You know, 6 million people in Houston, Texas. Some of the best hospitals in the world. You know, everybody knows this saying, follow the money. Dude, follow the hospitals. Mm-hmm. Where the hospitals are, money goes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, where you're buying here in Houston, I mean, those are really, really good areas of town. Your Austin deal, I mean, you can't go wrong with that, man. Like you said, you're not going to be able to find a, deal like that, that overlooks, Austin. I mean, you just got to find those good locations. So you're looking in real, like, infill locations, where there's a ton of job growth, are you looking just in these states, Texas, Florida?
No, we bought in Florida, Alabama, Georgia, bought in Savannah. But almost anything Florida, I mean, if it's got an F on it, I'm like, let's roll. So, anywhere where there's positive job growth, right? Tampa, Orlando has great job growth right now. Dallas has great job growth, but you got to be careful. Some of the places where you do have job growth, you also have the ability to build forever. Mm-hmm. So anytime you see lands that are flat, you got to be a little more careful. I love it, by the way, that you love real estate. Because I think it is the ultimate way to create wealth. So, like when I look at Atlanta, Georgia, right? Atlanta and Dallas are very similar, even maybe to Houston. The topography, I think that's a word, it's very similar. Mm-hmm. It's flat, okay? It can go outward in big circles for long distances. That makes real estate difficult from an exit standpoint. So you have to be extremely, while location's always a critical thing, the more flat the topography is without barriers, the more careful you have to be on location.
Is that simply because you can expand it everywhere? So you're not really sure where it's going to go next?
Yeah, land's cheap. They just keep building new suburbs. Look at Houston, right?
Just keep going. Just going north and west, and yeah, that's the way it is. Yeah.
So, in Miami, you can't do that. Okay. You go west and, Everglades, you can't build on the Everglades. You go east, little pond.
Called little pond, just a little pond, right?
So if you look at cities that do really well, why does Silicon Valley do well? Oh, because Apple Computer's there. Yeah, might be. But there's also a set of mountains there and an ocean. And that constricts everything right there to that spot. Go down to San Diego, Los Angeles, same thing, man. The flatter you get, the flatter the prices are. Okay, the more constriction there is between mountains and oceans, the more you get this vertical push up. We can't buy in California just because, I know I lose in court every time a tenant takes me to court. So I won't buy. I have to look at other markets that have barriers. When you do that, when you do a play like Austin, okay, where everybody's like, oh shit, Austin. Everybody says the same thing about Austin. Oh my God, Austin, man. Okay. When you buy in neighborhoods where Facebook and Google and Apple and Indeed are the employers, you have to make adjustments to your cap rate. And this is a problem real estate investors have right now. Like we're gonna make like a 3.5% return on our Austin deal. But I think that I'm gonna make 3 times of my money when I sell it. That deal, I put $40 million down that deal. It was $100 million. I financed $60 million. I think I'm going to make 4 or 5% for the next 2 years. Then I'm going to probably double to 8% because the rents are going to explode. And then I think that I'm going to sell that deal for probably $160 million.
So some people will maybe say that that's, speculation. What do you say to that?
It is speculation, but I'm being paid to wait. Now, speculation, pure speculation would be I bought Bitcoin, I get no income from it. I'm getting income. I got 456 units paying me every month for me to wait for mountains in Austin, Texas. You already got a traffic issue there.
Yeah, there is. Mm-hmm.
Like I paid. What did I pay a door there? $225 a door in Austin. If I go to downtown, that same property would be $500,000 a door right now today.
Yeah, it's just a crazy hot market for sure. Either way you look at it, a lot of people say it's like a California market, really.
But Juan, it's not a California market because the rents are $1,400. If I took that property and moved it to Silicon Valley, the rents would be $9,800 a month. So when people say it's speculation, yeah, okay, but why is it an outsider went to Austin and bought the deal? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the people inside Austin don't buy the deal. And this is true in all markets, by the way. Outsiders always make markets.
Yeah.
Outsiders make the markets. The insiders never do the deals because they're like, oh, shit, I could have bought that thing 5 years ago. Yeah, but you didn't. So what happens is California comes into Austin and says, this is a steal. New York comes in to Miami. Oh, my God, this is cheap. The people in Miami are complaining, and the people in New York are saying, this is a steal. Outside influences is what changes markets. So to some degree, you don't need to speculate, but you need to know about other markets and how they are going to push pricing of your market up or down.
Yeah. And the same could be true about international investors, coming into a market. They're doing the same thing,
Absolutely.
South America, Europe, Asia, those guys are coming in, and we're the local guys thinking is too expensive, and these guys are like, what the heck, and they're just taking everything they can,
Yeah, Singapore rents, okay? Singapore rents are 60% higher than the rents in America. So you see Americans like, oh my God, rents are so high. Yeah, and they're going to get higher too. They've been saying rents were too high since 1945.
It keeps going up.
And they're going to keep going up, dude. Houses are going to go down in America, and rental properties are going to keep going up because you have a couple things that are happening right now that has never happened before. The previous decades in America, people wanted to own homes. People actually do not want to own homes today. They don't want to own anything. People don't want to own their cars. People don't even want to lease cars anymore, man. People are like, no, I don't even want to lease a car. I just want a car to pick me up in the morning and bring me to my office. So what does that save me? Car, gasoline, insurance, parking. Dude, you're talking about deflation in that case. An entire industry could get wiped out. A massive industry called the automobile industry. You still need cars to transport people. But when people lose interest in the vehicle that ownership, that's mine, right? I still got to have a place to stay, though. Uber's got to pick me up someplace.
Yeah.
So,
I remember you while we're on that subject. I remember you talking about one time that people shouldn't buy a car; they should lease it. But now we're going from leasing to maybe having Uber or somewhere like that.
There's no reason for me to have a car today. I live 1 mile from my house, maybe 2 miles. For $6, I could have somebody bring me here every morning, and $6 I'd be on $12 a day. It cost me, what's that, $12 times 250 days. What is that? 2,400. I don't know. It's $3,000 a year, dude. I can get my transportation for $3,000. My insurance is $3,000.
Yeah.
My parking's got to be $10,000. Okay. So you're literally like, hey, that's an option for me. I have a buddy that gave his nephew a car, and the nephew's like, Unc, I don't want the car. Can you just get me an Uber account? And he's like, no, son, the car's paid for. He's like, I don't want the responsibility.
That's crazy if you think about it, because it wasn't like that, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I mean, it wasn't like that. You could get a car, you're taking it.
Your uncle giving you a Corvette or a Trans Am, you'd be like tripping out.
Yeah, for sure.
And this kid was like, no, man, I don't really want the responsibility.
Yeah, it's crazy. So Grant, let's go back to your deals. What's your strategy? What are you planning on doing? How long are you planning on holding these properties?
Dude, I buy stuff that people are they're gonna have to choke to buy it from me. Right? So when I buy something, I know it's a jewel. I know that other people are going to pay a premium for the product. Why? Because I paid a premium. I don't mind paying up to get a deal. You want great real estate? This is the biggest mistake I've made in 30 years. Well, the biggest mistake was I didn't buy more. 2, I shouldn't have sold anything. There was one deal I should have sold that I did sell. The rest of it I could have kept, dude. I'd have made a fortune. The third biggest mistake I made was that I should have bought better assets and ignored the cash, the big cash flow producers. I should have bought the best assets, the lower cap rates, not the higher cap rates. I should have bought the better quality trophy properties It paid me 3 or 4%. Rather than me looking at stuff that paid me 6 and 8, I should have bought the lower stuff. Because who's going to buy the good stuff?
Institutional guys.
Exactly, dude. Do they always have money?
Always.
Okay, Blackstone saved Miami. When the housing collapse happened in Miami, there was 10,000 vacant condos. Blackstone, in 2010, the Wall Street had just been like, you had people jumping out of buildings, dude. Like people
were hammered.
Themselves. Blackstone's like, it's terrible out there. We got money. They bought 10,000, wrote one check for 10,000 units.
That's deep pockets. So those are the kind of guys that you are looking to sell to.
Yeah, when you exit, you want to exit to people that always have money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the real estate that was lost in this country was 2 units, 4 units, 6 units, 8 units, 12 units, the junk. The stuff without great swimming pools, without great security. It was basically the leftovers. It's the stuff you and I are told we should buy and flip and hold and get cash flow on. It's the stuff the banks would never buy. They'll lend you money on it, but they're not going to buy it. So I've changed my strategy now to like, oh, dude, the next time I sell, I'm going to sell to people that have money in every cycle. And those guys have a big problem. Goldman Sachs has one problem: too much money. They can't buy little deals. You know, they have to buy, they need their deals to be 20 billion. So they don't care about how much money I make. They're trying to get rid of $20 billion at a time. So the think is completely different. Mm-hmm. And most real estate people aren't thinking like that. They're thinking about, what's my cash flow right now? You know? How much money do I have to put down in the deal? You're not thinking big enough. People are not thinking big enough, as opposed to, hey, I'm going to buy assets. My other 2 bidders on my last deal was Goldman and Blackstone. Dude, you think they're going to care that 10 years from now that they lost that deal?
No, they're not going to care at all.
They don't care, dude. They'd be like, hey, you beat us out in that last deal. Now I'm on their list, by the way. Okay? So, you know, you want to go fishing for whales.
So on that same note, you know, has your strategy, I mean, it sounds like it hasn't, changed much, except for you are buying in just much better locations, right? How has the strategy changed?
Yeah, my cash flow expectation has changed. And when I go to sleep at night, it's even better now. So it's like, I buy assets now, I never even worry about them again, dude. Like, I'm like, okay, it's just when. It's just when do I get to hit one out of the park? Because the asset, it's like Park Place and Broadway on Monopoly. As long as you don't lose them, you're going to win the game. So in the case of my real estate, I cash flow enough that I get to keep making trips around the table. Okay, sooner or later, dude. If you land a boom, I'm sorry, you have to pay there. So as long as I'm getting a little drip, I'm buying a deal right now. Yesterday, I made an offer on a deal. We got awarded the deal. It's $140 million. I'm gonna put $40 million down, maybe 50. Now your listeners are like, oh my God, it's so much money. It's all the same. It's all relative, right? I'm putting $50 million down to buy a $140 million asset. When I look at the deal, I'm like, I paid $50 million for that. I didn't pay $140 million. I paid $50 million, and I get $140 million. All I need to do now is keep it. It's when is somebody going to come along and say, okay, we'll give you 190, and 50 million becomes 100. And I was paid to wait and grab depreciation along the way.
I like that. I really do. So how is your strategy different than most syndicator strategies out there? You know, because a lot of the strategies for a normal syndicator is to raise the money, and then, have a deal, but raise the money for it and then take it down, right? Yeah. Your strategy seems to be a little bit different.
Yeah, so I buy the deal with my money, and then I tell people about it. So I buy deals based on what I want, what return I expect. If you expect a greater return than I expect for my money, then you shouldn't invest with me. Okay. I buy deals that I want to be in. I don't buy deals because I need to raise fees. Most syndicators buy deals that generate fees so that they can eat. I'm buying deals that I can sell to the richest organizations in the world, and I can clobber them. Okay? I mean, every deal I'm buying deals that I know I can sell to some of these are not the richest people in the world. These are the richest institutions in the world. These companies are worth trillions of dollars. These are the people Warren Buffett goes through to orchestrate his deals. You know, them paying too much doesn't matter. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go buy this deal for $140 million. It's just up the street from where I am right now. I'm going to put $50 million down. I'm going to finance the $90 million under my name. And then I'm going to go online and tell people, hey guys, I just bought this deal. Here it is. Our cash flow expectations is about 5.5% the first year. We're going to get in there. We think we can raise the rent. It might be 7% by year 3. We're going to sit and wait for the next 10 years. Okay. My goal is that somebody's going to come along and they're going to pay us the $50 million back plus 50 and maybe another 50. So we triple our money. Plus the cash flow.
Yeah. So I would say that, that's a good strategy, but you also you got to have the cash up front. So, I think, most people wouldn't do that because they don't have all that cash up front. That's the reason why they have to raise the capital in the first place, right? So you got to get yourself in a position to where you can do that, like you have, right?
You should, or you find a guy that's doing what I'm doing. Okay. Because there's not many people doing what I'm doing.
No, there isn't.
Okay. The people that do what I do is Goldman Sachs, Blackstone. I am basically modeling the biggest institutions on the planet. The difference is, what do they do before they offer that deal to the marketplace? They convert that piece of property or properties into a REIT, a real estate investment trust. They then take all the real estate, they put it into a trust, and they turn it into a piece of paper, and they sell a little piece of paper. And they sit in their little room and they're like, this piece of paper is worth $21.50. Nope, change that. Let's make it $26.75. Okay, we think that, and then they go to the marketplace and they sell $9 billion of this to 90 million people at $26.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing that. This is what I'm doing. I'm buying a piece of real estate. I'm being like, this is the real estate. You get to own the real estate. Every one of my deals is backed by this, and I'm using Instagram and Facebook to raise the money. So this has never been, up until 2 years ago, this was illegal for me to do what I'm doing today. This was approved by the Jobs Act and allowed little guys like me to actually compete with Goldman Sachs. The difference is I'm cutting Goldman Sachs out of the deal. I'm buying the deal, and I don't turn it into a piece of paper. Okay. If I can accumulate enough of this stuff, I might in the future go to Goldman and say, you guys want to be partners?
Let's make it happen.
And they'll be like, yeah, we'd like to show you our little trick.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see, they're not making money off the real estate, dude. They're making money off the people, off grandmas. They buy mutual funds.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And what I'm doing is I'm creating, there's a vacuum in the marketplace where, Juan, you and I can be partners on a deal together, literally partners in a piece of real estate that you can't buy on your own. And that Goldman Sachs will never offer you. Because if Goldman Sachs does not convert that to a piece of stock certificate, they're going to call their wealthy billionaire buddies and say, hey guys, 3 of you buy the deal together, I'll give it to you because you're great customers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with this strategy that you do, it actually gives a lot of people opportunity to get into a deal, to partner on a deal, right? They're basically partnering with you on a deal that they would otherwise have had a chance to buy. And these aren't deals that, Class C and Class B type of properties. I mean, these are deals that you already talked about it, in really, really good locations where people can actually be owners in the property. So I really like that strategy.
We have people selling their homes to move into our property. Yeah, I have a buddy of mine lives in Washington. I showed him one of my deals yesterday. He's a rich guy. He's worth $70 million. He's like, I would live there. He's like, how much are the rents? I said, $3,000. He's like, $3,000. I said, yeah. And you get 2 units. He's like, 2 units? Yeah, man. You get one for you and one for your kids, man. I can knock the wall down and make it a foot. No. Keep them separate. So he's like, oh my God, man. He's like, I can use that just when I come down to Miami for $3,000 a month. So here's a guy that's like, he's like, your swimming pool is bigger than mine. Your swimming pool is better than mine. Your security system is better than yours. Your gate system is better than yours. I just need to share the property with other people rather than having my own house. So, we're at a really interesting time. You got low interest rates. The cost of money is cheap. People don't really want housing anymore like they did. And these communities, these apartment communities that are being built are phenomenal.
Yeah, like all the new stuff that are being built. I mean, these things are just like they're awesome. There's nothing like the B and C stuff. For sure, and they keep getting better and better. Tell us how are you stress testing your deals? What kind of testing do you do to make sure that because I know you've talked in the past that you buy and whenever you buy a property, you try to make sure that worst case scenario is going to happen. So what is that worst case scenario that you try to
we
test for?
Take a vacancy. We take a vacancy all the way down to 85%. So, I write about it in this book, how we stress to worst case scenarios. So what I do is I take the trailing 12 and I push it up against the worst case scenario. How low has the occupancy on this building ever been? If I can cash flow at that number and I already like the property, first thing I got to like the property.
For sure.
If I don't like it, when I drive up on it, I'm not buying the deal. I'm not going to buy something I don't like. Because I know if I like it, somebody else will like it too. Mm-hmm. Right? You still want that moment when people drive up and like, oh, I love this. Because I love this means I'll pay for this.
Okay. So
number two, we underwrite the worst case scenario. Okay. Debt situation, DCRs, debt coverage ratios, occupancy at the lowest, expenses going up, rents flat. So that's never happened, by the way. Like in 50 years, we haven't had flat rents, but I write every deal like my rents aren't going to rise. So once I get a worst case scenario, then I've stress tested and said, you know what? I can still make 3 or 4% of my money. Do I love the asset? Yes, I do. Good. Now, okay, I got job growth. I got good schools. I got a great location. I need a good manager. We got to take care of people there. Maybe change the name of the place, call it 10X Living. Get the management team understanding how to actually handle people so they don't have to make a decision to lease there. You help them lease there. You help them move in. You make it hard for people to leave because you're nice to them. So then we build value, man.
Yeah. So I want to talk about, I know it's very competitive out there right now with these deals. You were just on the phone with, well, it seems like it was a broker that you were just talking to. It's very competitive out there to find these really good deals that, especially in these good locations. So how many deals are you looking at these days versus, maybe 5 years ago to take one down?
We're probably looking at 20 times more deals to take one deal down. I lose a lot of deals. That guy that I was on the phone with before you called, he's done $25 billion worth of deals, probably top 5 brokers in the country. So I have access to those people. I can call almost anybody in the country now and say, hey, my name's Grant Cardone. You probably don't know me. I am on your list. Look at your deals. I've done $1 billion. Here's letters from 2 or 3 sellers that you would know. Like, that's what it takes. Here's my money in my account right now today. I get it every day, a cash account to show to a seller. So you gotta be, because there's always going to be a Chinese guy on the deal. There's going to be a Russian on the deal. There's going to be somebody from South America that's richer than you. There's going to be a Blackstone and a Goldman. They're all calling up. They all know everybody. So you got to really have your sales shoes on, even as a buyer. You got to convince people that you're real. And unfortunately, a lot of people new to real estate, and even people that have been around a while, they don't even know how to make that phone call to truly get somebody's attention. I'll give you an example because you're from Houston. You remember right after this last flood,
Harvey.
after Harvey, all these people were like, I'm going to go to Houston and buy. Within 1 hour, every broker that was answering the phone was sick of answering the phone. Because it was people from all over the country thinking, I'm going to go to Houston and steal something now. Nobody wants to talk to you when you're talking like that.
Yeah.
That's not who gets the deals. The old adage about buy low and sell high, that doesn't work.
On the same note, how are you getting on these brokers lists? If it's a new market that you're entering, you never talked to this broker at all. You never bought anything in this market. What are you doing to kind of distinguish yourself?
I'm going to call somebody in my market and say, who's the top broker in Austin, Texas? If I don't already know, it's pretty easy to find that out, right? Just find out what closed last year. I got to find something out about that person. I can go on LinkedIn and probably find it out, okay? Oh, Charles Solar is the number one broker there. Number two is Patton Jones. I know I'm right by 5 minutes of research. Okay, so I can use RCA. RCA is Real Capital Analytics. Costs you about $35,000 a year to have access to every deal that's sold in the country. And so I can put in Austin, Texas and find out who sold it. Oh, boom, there's Charles, there's Charles, there's Charles, there's Charles. Charles, Grant Cardone. Okay, I got a buddy of yours down here because you're with CBRE. I got a buddy of yours over here told me to give you a call. Okay, you know so-and-so? Yeah, I do. Great. Hey, by the way, I know you closed that deal with Blackstone over at 17th Street. You closed that other deal with Goldman. I just got it off a list, dude. Hey, congratulations on that listing you just got with blah, blah. It's on his website.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, I'm flying into town tomorrow morning. Can you meet me? He's like, well, what do you mean flying into town? I'm in Miami right now. I'm gonna get on my plane. I'm gonna fly in. I'll be in at 6:30. Can you meet me at the airport? I'm flying into Signature. Dude, it makes a difference when you're telling the guy you're flying in private and you're doing it right now and you're ready to go and you want to look at his deal and you got cash. You got to know how to tell that story. And if you don't know how to tell the story, you need to get a partner. I'm telling you, there's so much wealth to be created in the next 25 years doing this. If you don't have the money and you don't have the credit and you don't have the plane, then fucking get a partner that's got the plane, the credit, and the money. And go roll with the dude. Because
simple as that.
Millions of dollars. I'm going to build a $10 billion company. The first time in my entire career, I was this close to like, dude, I could actually do this now. But it takes energy, it takes resources, it takes commitment. You don't need to have those things. Juan, you could move to Miami and work with me, dude, and we could go we could go rock this show out, dog.
Let's make it happen, man. No big deal. Yeah, no, that's what it's about. It's about partnering with the right people. If you don't have it in your back pocket, then you need to find somebody that does. Simple as that,
Right.
And there are a lot of people that don't have it,
Nothing wrong with being the second guy or the third guy or the fourth guy in the company that's going places. You know Ryan Secco, right? Mm-hmm. Ryan was a pilot with Delta Airlines making $125,000 a year, and in his part-time, he bought real estate in Tucson, in Phoenix. Mm-hmm. He had 21 units. He quit his job, came to work for me, sold all his property, took the money, put it in with me. This guy's with me every day. Every day we're looking at $100 million deals every day. If I got to look at 20 deals to find one of them that I can get. Dude, how many deals do I need? Like 10 of those is $1 billion. Okay? If I can do that 10 times, that's 10 billion. Mm-hmm. So it's like, now the play's big enough. Now there's a big enough play for Ryan, the company, the people around me. The score's big enough to where you can create really generational wealth, not just for myself, but I could do that for a lot of other people as well.
Yeah, for sure. Going back to those deals that you're buying, one of the questions that I wanted to ask you was, what type of returns? I know you briefly talked about it earlier, but what type of returns are you getting for your investors, like on a typical deal? When people come in with you and invest in your deals, what's the IRR?
Okay, in the last 18 months, we've raised $180 million. Last month, we generated $1.2 million in distributions last month. Mm-hmm. If we stay on track for the 1.2, that would generate $14 million in cash distributions this year. Divide that 14 million into 180 million, I think the number is about 8%. Cash on cash distributed to the investor. That's with me taking my piece. Okay, now, number one. Number two, what we're looking for, though, some of these properties are only doing 4 and 4.5% because we just closed them. Other properties are doing 13. So what we're looking for overall is a 15% internal rate of return after expenses, net to the investor. We're looking for 15% a year. So in 10 years, that would be 150% return to the investor. Cash flow and appreciation.
Gotcha. So about 15%. Yeah, that's a good number for sure.
And I think what we have on our prospectus is actually conservative.
Yeah, I mean, if especially if you're in strong markets, like Austin or Houston, within the locations that you're buying, I mean, things are just going up. From there, rents are just going up.
If I have time, I just need time. There's going to be some period in those 10 years. It might not be 10 years. It might be 6 years and 2 months. There might be one moment for 30 or 45 days or 60 days where things go stupid. And like, bang, that's where I want to get it. I bought a deal in Nashville 4 years ago, 48 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
I paid $63 million for that deal. I financed $58 million. There was debt on it. I had to take the debt down. That was the problem with the deal. The hair on the deal was debt. The debt was terrible. It was like 6% money in a 4% market. Right,
wow.
Right. I could get new money for about 4.25. My interest rate on that deal was 6%. But I loved the property. So I'm like, I'm buying this deal. It's 800 units. I bought it for $63 million. I financed 58. I assumed the loan. I put $5 million down. I sold that deal for $91 million. Okay, I made $28 million. Now, it only paid 6% while I waited. So 6 times 4 is 24%. There was about 7 people on this deal. Me and 6 other people.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly family members. And then I made $28 million. I put in 8. I got my 8 back, gave 8 back to everybody. That's 100%. Gave them their 8 back. I have $20 million left above that, dude. That's what, 2.5 more times. That's 250%. That deal did 374%.
And I want everybody to realize that's 374% on a large deal. That's not a $200,000 deal. I mean, it's 374% on a freaking ginormous deal like that. So that's those are big numbers.
But here was the deal. We were players in that deal for 10 years. I'm like, I'll be here 10 years. Maybe I never sell this piece of property. Okay. But when a buyer came along, I'm like, dude, if you're willing to choke on it,
take it. It's yours, huh?
All you got to do is just tap out, dog. Let's roll. Okay. Hey, just so you know, the guy that bought that deal from me owns 25,000 units.
Yeah, so he's a big guy for sure.
He's not an idiot. He thinks he's going to make a 20 million.
What market was this again?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty heated market right now as well. Nashville.
And interesting enough, I love doing this interview. I could talk about real estate forever, but because this was 60s and 70s product. So it's not like I'm always looking at new stuff. When I look at anything that'll make us money, but it needs to be something big.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because big works.
So what's the minimum size that you're looking at then? Well, I mean, what's the minimum size?
It's gotta be at least 300 units, and if I could do 4 of them that are 300 units each at one time, I'd rather that.
Yeah, like a portfolio of properties. Yeah.
So I'm trying to collect stuff right now. I'm trying to collect Austin, Houston. You got to be very, very careful in Houston. Like Houston is like walking on, like it's treacherous there.
Yeah, there's different pockets where you want to be in, and there's pockets that you don't want to be in for sure. You gotta know the market here for sure.
Yeah, you definitely have to know it.
Yeah. So, Grant, it's time for our nuggets of wealth. These are questions that I ask every guest every week. Hopefully, they are able to help them out. So, what is the biggest mistake that you see that are being made by investors, like newer investors?
Yeah, you buy too small. You buy
too small, not going large enough.
Down payment you have. I have a guy that works for me. He read the book. He's like, I'm gonna buy 2 units. I said, dude, what are you getting, a VA loan? He's like, yeah, I am. How'd you know that?
Yeah, that's way too small. Yeah.
Okay. He did the deal because he could buy the deal with no money down. This is just stupid. It's like you're not at Kmart's, man.
One thing that I like that you said that you've said before is don't buy real estate on a budget. And that really does stick. For sure, because that's kind of what this guy was doing. He was buying it on a budget. A 2-unit.
Based on the down payment he had.
Exactly.
Like, bro, first of all, you can't finance 100% of a property and think that you can keep it when things are bad. Okay. If you're going to hold a property 10 years, you could go through 2 recessions in 10 years.
Yeah, for sure.
So I just need to make it through both of them. Because there's going to be, out of 10 years, 4 years of that could be a recession. I just need to be able to hold it and sell it on 2 of the years. Okay. Because if you got 4 years, let's say there was one big recession, or let's say there's 2 recessions over a decade. Let's say the 3rd and 4th year and the 6th and 7th year. Okay? The 3rd and 4th and the 6th and 7th. Well, you don't want to sell in the 8th year. You want to sell in 9 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to sell in the 5th year. You want to sell in number 6. So you got to find that right spot. And that means cash flow, the number of units times the cash flow is the senior part of the formula. The number of units is the single most important number in all of real estate. Cash flow is the second most important. Cap rate means nothing. Cash flow. Actual money that I'm collecting monthly above my expenses and my debt. Because that is what will allow me to get through, water torture.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just got to hold my breath.
So, hey, Grant, if you could go back and start all over in real estate, what would you do besides going bigger? I know we've talked about this many times. What would you do differently?
Buy a better product, lower cap rates, hold for longer periods of time. I'd get partners. I should have got partners. I should have allowed investors to invest with me. I didn't let people invest with me for 20 years, dude, because I was worried about trouble. Like, I don't want your bullshit. I don't want you complaining. We've allowed, thousands of people to invest with me now. 99.9% of them hadn't even been a problem. Most of them are grateful and happy. Posted on Instagram. They got a check. Had a guy get a check for $35 yesterday. Goddamn, Grant. Uncle G, you're taking care of me. But you know what, dude? It all starts with $35.
Yeah, it does. You got to start somewhere.
The guy that appreciates $35 is my kind of guy because I appreciate $35.
Yeah. Gotcha. So, Grant, this is more of a personal question here, but I know you've talked many times, because I follow you around all the time, but you talk about reaching your full potential all the time. So what would be worse for you, never reaching your full potential or having to start all over again tomorrow? Like starting from scratch tomorrow with everything you have, reaching your full potential.
I can't start from scratch. I know too much now, right? So, like, you could take everything away from me, take the plane away, take the money away, but I know too much. I mean, I'd come back. Now I know how the game works.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how the game worked, and how could I know? Nobody around me knew how the game worked.
You got to be around the right people.
Huh? Yeah. No. My uncle was buying Section 8 stuff. Like, dude, it's fine if you buy Section 8 for a little while, but not your whole damn career.
Yeah.
Like, you want to graduate from Section 8. Okay, he bought Section 8 for 40 years. That'd be like staying in the 8th grade for 40 years.
Yeah, for sure.
You study the right people, man. All you got to do is study the right people. Study Donald Bren in Orange County. Study Study Fred Trump. You don't like Donald? Study Fred. Okay? Study the guys that made money in real estate. Not the guy doing a podcast on real estate. No offense, but like you want to study somebody that's got some freaking, like, study Sam Zell.
Yep.
Okay, he's worth $5 billion. Donald Bren's worth, I don't know, $10 or $12 billion. Richest real estate guy in the country. That's study the top of the food chain. And then don't just study real estate guys. Study Elon Musk. Study guys that are thinking enormous. Not people that are not people that are saving their food in their refrigerator.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. What is your favorite quote out of all your quotes that you have, Grant? What is your favorite one?
Probably "Success is my duty."
I like that one. Yeah, I actually have it right here. Have it right here above the wall.
It is a favorite one of mine.
What was the other one?
Don't be a little bitch.
Don't be a little bitch. Yeah, I like that one too. Yeah, no, success is my duty as one of my favorite ones as well. So at the end of your life, how do you want to be remembered?
At the end of my life, how do I want to be remembered? Dude, I want to be remembered a lot of different ways. I want to be like that when you open up the crayons and there's all these colors in there. I don't want to be red. I want to be like, oh, dude, the guy he was like a sales god. And oh my God, this guy was a fun dude. Like, he was a fun dude to be with. And then that fucking guy worked his ass off. That's a different color crayon, right? Oh my God, he loved real estate. Oh, he was a great dad. He was a prankster. Like, one of the things people don't know about me, like, I love to scare people. Like, I like to jump out on people and scare them, right? So, like, people even know, oh, where's Grant? He's behind a corner somewhere now, right? So,
like a little kid always, huh?
Like, I love numbers. Like, I've been writing numbers down while I'm doing this. I love numbers. So, I hope, hopefully people say more than just one thing about me.
Yeah, no, I think you're leaving a legacy in many different ways, and I think people will definitely remember you in many different ways. Those ways that you mentioned, for sure.
Thank you, dude. Sure. I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, man. So where can Commit to Wealth Nation go to contact you and find out more about you and what you're doing?
Yeah, Cardone Capital. I mean, the thing I'd love for everybody to do is number one, if you don't have this book, I'll give it to you for free. It's called How to Create Wealth Investing in Real Estate. Go to cardonecapital.com/book. It's free. You can take care of the shipping, and we'll ship it out to you, so it's free to your listeners. Number two, if you like what I'm doing with real estate, I'd love that for accredited or non-accredited investors. You can invest with me. Non-accredited, the minimum is $5,000. For accredited, it's $100,000. And if you have a positive attitude, if you love real estate, you don't have the time to do it, you can go see, you can just go look around and see the deals I'm doing. Okay? I am going to change the way people invest in real estate. My mom was my best friend. And I realized years ago, my mom would have never been given the opportunity to invest in the kind of real estate that I'm buying today. She died about 9 years ago, and she could not, based on the way the laws were back then, she couldn't invest in the funds that I had.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dude, how crazy is that? My own mama can't invest with me. Oh, she's the one that needed it more than anybody. The rich people don't need it then. Rich people don't need my deal. The little guy needs my deal. My sister, I took a woman, my older sister, she's 10 years older than me. She never made more than maybe $40,000 a year. She was an executive secretary for a company. She was working, even in retirement. Single, she'd never been married, had to take care of herself. I took her retirement money and I put it in my deals. I made my sister a multimillionaire many times over. She'll never have to work for anyone ever again the rest of her life. Okay, so I created those funds based on what I would do for my mom, my twin brother, and my sister. And so when people invest in CardoneCapital.com, you're getting exactly the same structure that I created for my family. And I want to do this because I truly do want to make a difference. I've already made a difference in my own life. I got it made. I got everything I want, everything I need. Now, if I can help a lot of other people and possibly disrupt the Wall Street bankers game, and be known. And maybe that's another crayon for me, man. Like, hey, man, that guy went and jacked Goldman Sachs.
I like that. Grant, you're awesome, man. You really are. So,
hey, great job, bro. Great job on your podcast. I do a lot of interviews. You do a great job.
Hey, I appreciate it. So Grant, thanks a lot for taking the time. I really do appreciate that. It was an honor to have you on. And I wish you continued success, man. You keep crushing it out there.
Thank you, man.
CommitToWealth.com, creating a legacy by committing to real estate wealth.